The Ganges, the longest river in India. On its epic journey from the world's highest mountains, through cultivated farmland, sprawling wilderness, to the Indian Ocean, it provides a home to some of India's rarest creatures and a lifeline to millions of people. Considered a goddess to Hindus, the Ganges harbors one of the great contradictions of life in India. The river people most cherish is the river they most pollute. But the Ganges hides life-sustaining secrets. From its origins in the Himalayas, the Ganges flows over 2,500 kilometers across northern India, before emptying into the ocean on the border of India and Bangladesh. This mighty river is home to some of the rarest and strangest animals on the planet, including elusive river dolphins and bizarre long-nosed reptiles. The Ganges also supports some of the last true wilderness in the world, where India's largest population of tigers still thrives. Nourished by sediment washed from the Himalayas, the Gangetic Plains are some of the most fertile land on Earth, and home to India's giants. But man has reaped rewards too. Vast areas of natural habitat have been destroyed to make way for farming and industry. 500 million people live in the Ganges basin, 8% of the world's population. The river not only provides livelihoods and drinking water, it carries away the sewage and waste of millions. For Hindus, the Ganges is far more than a river. She's a goddess, Ganga. The grime of thousands of people taking a holy bath filters into the water every day. Offerings to the goddess and human cremations on the banks add to the strain on the river. But despite this, unique properties in Ganges water could explain how rare creatures and rich vegetation are able to survive. Hindu belief in the goddess Ganga's power to purify could prove to be more than just blind faith. The Ganges starts its life among the highest mountains in the world, the Himalayas. Many of the peaks reach over 6,000 meters and are constantly covered in snow and ice. Over 15,000 glaciers make this the world's largest store of fresh water outside the polar ice caps. The Gangotri Glacier is one of the largest. The glacier stretches for 30 kilometers and fills a valley with solid ice. Its leading edge is called Gaumukh, the cow's mouth, as the water which flows under its vast icy tongue is milky white. Hindus consider this to be the source of the Ganges. Only the hardiest pilgrims come and worship here. It's said that if you drink at Gaumukh, you live for 100 years. But the true headwaters of the Ganges begin above the glacier, nearly 4,500 meters above sea level. Few animals can survive in this harsh environment. A Himalayan blue sheep's dense fur helps insulate it against the cold. But even here, predators are on the prowl. Snow leopards are perfectly adapted to mountain life. Woolly fur keeps out the cold wind. Its long, thick tail can be wrapped around its body like a scarf. Even the soles of its feet are covered with fur for extra warmth. Minerals in rocks supplement a blue sheep's meager diet, but they need to be eaten with care. Rockfalls are common. Constant freeze and thaw makes mountain slopes unstable. A blue sheep which has lost its footing is an easy meal. Snowmelt from the Himalayas continually feeds the Ganges. Hindu mythology tells that Ganga, the river goddess, originally flowed through the heavens. She was brought to earth by a devout king, Bhagirath, whose ancestors had been turned to ashes by an angry sage. The goddess Ganga agreed to come and release these trapped souls, but warned that her torrential power would wash the world away. Bhagirath petitioned Lord Shiva for help. Shiva put his matted hair in the path of the heavenly river. His dreadlocks absorbed the torrent's destructive force and split the deluge into 1,000 smaller streams. The fast-flowing mountain brooks are full of insect larvae and an ideal hunting ground for a brown dipper. Weighing less than 100 grams, these small birds seem likely to be washed away by the current. But they're well adapted to forage for food in the rocky stream bed. Their short wings are strong enough to swim underwater, and their blood stores more oxygen than terrestrial birds, allowing them to hold their breath for half a minute. Ample time to grab a beakful. The young Ganges river that flows from the Gangotri glacier is called Bhagirathi, in honor of the king that brought the river goddess to earth. 50 kilometers downstream, the turbulent Bhagirathi collides with one of its sister streams, the sedate and muddy Alaknanda. The two run alongside each other for 200 meters before their waters mix. This river is now called Ganges. Raging water calms as the river reaches the flat lands of the Gangetic Plains. Sediments carried from high among the glaciers are released. The Ganges deposits 1.6 billion tons of sediment every year, 4 times as much as the Amazon. This creates some of the most fertile land in the world. The Ganges River Basin covers 1 million square kilometers of northeastern India. Much of this huge floodplain has been farmed, but a few pockets of wild grassland and forest survive among the river's furthest tributaries, in a region known as the Tarai. The Terai is home to one of the largest animals in the world, the Indian rhino. Males can weigh up to 3,000 kilos, twice the weight of the average family car. Indian rhinos once roamed right across the Gangetic Plains, but now are found in just a few protected areas. Their single horn can grow to over half a meter in length. A prehensile lip makes their mouths almost as nimble as a hand. They can grasp tufts of grass and pick up fruit and leaves. Rhinos' eyesight is poor, but their sense of smell is sharp. Scent glands on their feet leave a pungent trail wherever they walk. At midday, pre-monsoon heat nudges temperatures into the 40s. Rhinos seek refuge in the river. As they are the most aquatic of all rhinos, a calf's first lesson is how to swim. Indian rhinos are more tolerant of company than their African cousins, and often bathe together. But tempers fray when females are on heat. Battles over breeding rights can be bloody. Thick, warty folds around a male's neck offer some protection. But fights like this often lead to death. The reward for the victorious male is the right to mate. In 16 months, the female will give birth to one calf. It will be 2 to 3 years before she's ready to mate again. The floodplains of the Ganges in northern India contain some of the world's most fertile soil. Nearly 500 million people live in the Ganges River basin. It's one of the most densely populated places on Earth. Wildlife is under increasing pressure from the huge number of people sharing the river's resources. Ganges water is naturally muddy. Runoff from farming and industry makes it murkier still. But there are animals living here. One creature is seen so rarely, it seems almost mythical. The Gangetic River dolphin spends most of its time foraging for food. Visibility in the water is so poor that the dolphin's eyes have lost their lenses. They're almost completely blind and use echolocation to navigate and detect prey. Like its marine cousins, the river dolphin is a mammal and has to surface every few minutes to breathe. Local people call it susu, after the sound it makes when it takes in air through the blowhole on the top of its head. The elusive susu isn't the only strange creature to call the Ganges home. These armor plates belong to one of the largest crocodilians in the world, the gharial. Male gharials can grow to be 6 meters long. This prehistoric-looking predator poses no threat to man. Its long, slender jaws are too delicate to tackle large mammals. They're adapted to hunt fish. A slimline snout whips through the water with little drag. Slippery fish are skewered on rows of razor-sharp teeth. Tiny pits in their scales detect vibrations in the water and help pinpoint prey. Male gharials develop a bump at the end of their noses called a gara, after the Hindi word for pot. The bigger the gara, the more attractive a male is to a mate. But a female may hear her suitor before she sees him. Air, squeezed through the male's nostrils, is amplified by his bulbous snout. It becomes a loud buzzing sound that can be heard up to 1 kilometer away. A female raises her head, a sign she's ready to mate. The courting couple slip under the cover of water and stay submerged for up to half an hour. Females lay their eggs on sandy riverbanks. Gharials are much better adapted to life in water. On land, the female's short legs can't lift her body clear of the ground. Under the cover of darkness, she buries up to 100 eggs. Sand acts as an incubator. It absorbs the sun's warmth and keeps the eggs between 30 and 34 degrees Celsius. The mother guards her nest for 2 months while her eggs develop. Their eggs are some of the largest in the crocodile world and make a tasty meal for a jackal or a monitor lizard. Gharials are an ancient species, over 60 million years old. Just 60 years ago, there were thought to be as many as 10,000 living wild. Today, there are fewer than 200. They've been hunted for their meat and skins, and for the male's gara, which some people believe is an aphrodisiac. As the Ganges banks succumb to agriculture and industry, their habitat is being destroyed too. Human pressure has pushed gharials to the brink of extinction. But for Hindus, the worship, protection and feeding of animals is key to their faith. Usi Sahami rows across the Ganges every morning. Feeding gulls has been her daily ritual for 20 years. She considers it her duty as a Hindu and believes it will help her achieve a better existence in the next life. Reincarnation is a core belief of Hinduism. Nowhere is this more evident than in Usi's hometown, Varanasi. Varanasi is at the heart of the Ganges and is considered to be the holiest place in India. It's one of the oldest cities in the world. People have been coming here to bathe in the Ganges for over 3,000 years. The water is believed to wash away sins and purify the soul. Every Hindu dreams of visiting the Ganges. But for many who come to Varanasi, it's the last journey they'll ever make. Varanasi is a city of death. Hindus believe every soul is locked in a perpetual cycle of birth and reincarnation, known as samsara. Death is just one link in the chain. The scent of sandalwood, incense and ghee fills the air. Funeral pyres burn round the clock. Varanasi is considered to be a gateway between heaven and earth. To die and be cremated here is believed to ease the soul on its journey to the next life. The ultimate goal is to escape the suffering of repeated lives and attain moksha, release. For the untouchable Dom caste, Varanasi's undertakers, death is a way of life. The Doms keep Varanasi's fires burning. They sell the wood and prepare bodies for cremation. The chief undertaker, the Dom Raja, guards an eternal flame from which all pyres must be lit. An average of 250 cremations take place on the burning ghats every day. The ashes of thousands are scattered in the Ganges River each year. When the funeral is over, religious devotion dissolves into raw reality once more. The Doms sift through their clients' remains, looking for spoils. They're rumored to collect up to 7 grams of gold teeth and earrings every day. In Varanasi, the spiritual and the mundane go hand in hand. Pilgrims wash while they worship and pollute as they purify. The Ganges is one of the most polluted rivers in the world. Yet the life-sustaining power of Ganges water has been recognized for hundreds of years. In the 16th century, the Mughal Emperor Akbar called it the water of immortality. He would serve nothing else to his guests because it tasted so sweet. 200 years later, the British East India Company regularly stocked ships with barrels of Ganges water. They claimed no other water stayed as fresh for the 3-month journey back to England. Today, despite huge numbers gathering to bathe, often where raw sewage drains into the river, there have been no recorded outbreaks of major diseases like cholera or typhoid. Hindus insist Ganges water has the power to purify. Maybe there is more to this claim than meets the eye. The lower reaches of India's Ganges River basin are so fertile, the locals call the area the Rice Bowl of India. Farmers reap 4 rice harvests a year here, double that of many parts of the country. But these fertile fields bring dangers of their own. A deadly monocled cobra feasts on a toad, common prey in a paddy field. The snake's hunting trip brings it perilously close to farmers harvesting rice. 1 million people in India are bitten by snakes every year. Monocled cobras are one of the most venomous snakes in Asia. Fangs inject poison that paralyzes its victim's nervous system and breaks down its cells. One bite can kill a man in less than an hour. Many people here have an understandable fear of snakes. But in the village of Chotopashla in West Bengal, the attitude towards these deadly serpents is rather more surprising. Snakes are drawn to the village in search of rodents, often found around human settlements. A rat in the larder is one thing. A cobra in the bedroom, quite another. But instead of causing panic, the venomous visitor raises not so much as an eyebrow. Villagers here don't just tolerate snakes, they worship them. The village priest is summoned to relocate the revered intruder. He's the only one permitted to handle them. Chotopashla's 6,000 residents share the village with 3,000 monocled cobras. Village elders tell the tale that snakes arrived 6 centuries ago to seek refuge from a huge flood. Flood water brought with it remarkable rice production. Snakes have been associated with prosperity ever since. When he's not removing snakes from people's homes, Shyamal Chakrabarti leads the worship in the village temple. Villagers make offerings of fruit and sweets to the snake goddess Manasa, who they believe keeps their fields flourishing and their people safe from snakebite. When a dead snake is found, Shyamal carries its body to the Ganges, so it can continue its journey of reincarnation. As well as a sacred burial site for humans and animals, the Ganges also provides a hunting ground for one of the world's most skillful aquatic predators. Smooth-coated otters are in their element underwater. Ears and nostrils closed to keep water out, as they propel themselves with powerful webbed hind feet and a strong, flattened tail. Thick, velvety coats provide a streamlined surface, crucial to the high-speed pursuit of fish. An otter can change direction in a flash. Sensitive whiskers detect the slightest movement of prey. Unlike other otters, smooth-coated otters are social animals. Family groups of as many as 17 share a territory led by a dominant female. Wriggling against each other helps dry their coats and reinforces bonds. Otters work as a team when they hunt, corralling shoals of fish and sharing the spoils. But they aren't the only fishermen on the river. Sachin Bishwash has made his living on the Ganges for over 40 years. But Sachin is no ordinary angler. He has a secret weapon. Otters. He's recruited some of nature's most talented fishermen and trained them to herd fish into his nets. The fact that fish survive in this polluted river is another indication that Ganges water has unique properties. Today's catch is small, but profitable. Catfish can fetch over $30 each. This family of otters has been fishing with Sachin's family for generations. But the men must still be careful. Even a friendly nip could take a man's finger clean off. Otters work hard and are well paid for their labor. No matter how small the catch, they are first to be fed. Back in their village, the otters get time to take a dust bath with their pups. This is their fourth litter. 5 healthy and boisterous males. A second helping of fish keeps the family content. The pups have a lot to learn yet about catching food. They're 3 months old and just about weaned. Sachin's mother always lends a hand rearing the otters. In a few weeks, these youngsters will begin their training and learn to fish with the humans. And when they're a year old, Sachin will sell them on. A good fishing otter can fetch over $200. Much of the fish Sachin catches is sold and transported downstream, where it ends up in the markets of one of the largest urban agglomerations in the world. Calcutta is home to nearly 16 million people and sprawls along the Hooghly River, the main branch of the Ganges that runs to the sea. Once capital of the British Raj, Calcutta is now one of India's most diverse and chaotic cities. Calcutta's lifeblood is its river, which it depends on for trade, industry, and hydroelectric power. The city is far removed from the wild Ganges, and it's a stark reminder of the huge demands put on the river by man. But just 60 kilometers upstream, a recent discovery has provided a glimmer of hope for the Ganges and its wildlife. Gharials are making a comeback. Thought to be extinct in this part of the river, there have been no gharial sightings here for over 30 years. Until now. Muted squeaks bring a female out of the water. When they're ready to hatch, her young call out from inside their eggs. It's their mother's cue to give them a helping hand and dig them out. The little hatchlings pierce the leathery shell of their eggs with a tiny egg tooth that grows on the tip of their snouts. A female gharial cannot carry her young to the water like other crocodilians. Her teeth are too sharp. The hatchlings need to make their own way to the river. But one nest has been unearthed by the wrong reptile. A monitor lizard makes short work of a clutch of eggs. The mother moves quickly. But she's not quick enough. This clutch has been unlucky. But others have survived. Less than 40 centimeters long when they hatch, newborn gharials are vulnerable to predators too. But their mother protects them for several weeks while they learn to hunt. Juveniles feed on insects and small frogs. It will be a few years before these miniature predators pose any threat to fish. It's thought that there are now at least 100 gharials living in this stretch of river. If they're surviving here, so close to a big city, then there may yet be some hope for their future. The Ganges supplies trillions of gallons of water for farming and industry, and flushes away the waste of millions of people. Despite this, Hindus drink it every day and claim that far from making them ill, it's good for physical and spiritual health. Scientists have studied this paradox. The Ganges seems to contain a natural disinfectant, capable of killing pathogens that cause widespread disease. Research has identified the presence of bacteriophages, microscopic organisms that feed on bacteria. When they find food, bacteriophages multiply incredibly quickly. In less than half an hour, 100 can become 100,000. The more people that enter the water, the more food is available to the Ganges bacteriophages. In an invisible feeding frenzy, they eliminate diseases before they spread. Tests also show that the Ganges carries an unusually large amount of dissolved oxygen. This helps break down the human and animal waste spewed into the river. The Ganges does this 25 times faster than any other river. This could be the secret to the survival of animals here. A high oxygen content sustains a healthy fish population, which in turn supports the Ganges' aquatic animals, river dolphins, gharials, and otters. And organic waste is broken down into nutrients that are useful rather than harmful to the environment. On the border of India and Bangladesh, the Ganges dissolves into the largest river delta on Earth. Formed by the confluence of the Ganges, the Brahmaputra, and the Meghna rivers, this super delta is a labyrinth of channels and creeks. In it lies the largest tract of mangrove swamp and forest on Earth, the Sundarbans. Rivers wash mud and silt out into the Bay of Bengal. Ocean tides flood the forest with salt water every day. It's one of the world's most challenging natural environments. The Sundarbans is a place where land meets sea, and the line in between is blurred. Even the fish seem confused. Mud skippers spend more time out of the water than in it. Water stored in pouches stops their gills drying out, and they can breathe through their skin as long as it's wet. Modified pectoral fins are strong enough to pull them over the ground, and they can skip over half a meter by flexing their tails. During the breeding season, tensions run high, and males defend their territories. Blue markings become brighter. Dorsal fins wave like warning flags. If this fails to deter an intruder, there's nothing left except mouth-to-mouth combat. Trees also have strange adaptations. To escape the waterlogged soil, their roots send up stalks, which absorb oxygen from the atmosphere. For a wild boar, the muddy Sundarbans are paradise. Chital deer look up rather than down for food. And always keep an eye open for danger. With good reason. In the Sundarbans, the tiger is still king of the jungle. Stripes break up its outline and make it hard to spot through the trees. Male tigers are the heaviest cats in the world. They can weigh over 200 kilos, about 3 times more than the average human. Paws the size of side plates spread their weight and help them move silently through the forest. Tigers creep as close to prey as possible before launching an attack. Thick mangroves provide plenty of cover. Chital deer are favorite targets. Tigers' canines can grow to 10 centimeters, the longest of any cat. They're so powerful, they've been known to bring down animals 6 times their own weight. The chital sense danger. Fleeing into water is usually a good tactic for escaping predators. But tigers don't mind getting wet. Unlike most cats, they're excellent swimmers. With its catch back on dry land, the big cat makes light work of its meal. A rough tongue scrapes meat clean off the bone. Today, the Sundarbans is home to the largest population of wild Bengal tigers in India, over 400. It's the only place on Earth where these big cats live in such an aquatic environment. Tigers have embraced their watery world and will feed on fish and crabs. But there is something else on their menu. The The Sundarbans tigers are notorious man-eaters. It's thought that as many as 250 people are killed in tiger attacks here every year. Foraging in the forest for honey or firewood can be fatal. Some say a tiger can even pull a man from a boat. Villagers have even been dragged from their beds. It's still not fully understood why the tigers here are such a threat to man. People live close to tigers in other parts of India, but nowhere else are fatalities so high. One theory is they've developed a taste for human flesh after scavenging on the bodies of cyclone victims. Devastating weather in the Bay of Bengal kills thousands of people every year. Or perhaps these tigers have never learned to fear man. In the 20th century, big game hunting caused India's tiger population to crash from 40,000 to just 1,800. But impenetrable mangrove forest protected Sundarbans tigers from man and his guns. Here, people are prey. But each time a tiger takes a human life, the precarious existence of its own kind is shaken. Fear and reprisal leads to tigers being killed. For a species on the brink of extinction, every tiger death is a catastrophe. A government conservation program works hard to keep man and cat safe from each other. As home to one of the world's most endangered animals, the Sundarbans will be protected so people, as well as tigers, can benefit from it for generations to come. While the Sundarbans is one of the world's great wildernesses, a small island just a few miles away hosts one of the planet's largest gatherings of people. Sagar Island is the place where the Ganges finally reaches the sea and flows into the Bay of Bengal. It's the middle of January, and this sleepy island is about to be transformed by an inundation, not of water, but of people. This is a dramatic reminder of the pressure put on the Ganges River and its wildlife by humans. Millions of Hindus arrive here on the day of Makar Sankranti, the winter solstice. The Ganga Sagar Mela, as it is known, is one of the largest religious gatherings on earth. Many travel for days to get here. For some, it's the first time they've ever seen the sea. Tropical beaches are transformed into the world's biggest campsite. Pilgrims throw coins as offerings to the goddess Ganga. For enterprising children, it's an opportunity worth braving the mud to exploit. During the festival, they can make over 1,000 rupees, a healthy boost to often meager incomes. Makar Sankranti is a harvest festival, a time to give thanks to the Ganges for the crops she provides and livelihoods she sustains. Sagar Island is regarded as one of the most auspicious places to bathe in Ganges water. This is a grand farewell to a river that has played such a vital role in the lives of India's people and wildlife. The Ganges is home to some of India's rarest creatures, which fight for survival as man encroaches on wilderness. Agriculture and industry have swallowed much of the Ganges' fertile floodplain, once home to giants like the Indian rhino. Millions of humans live and die on the riverbanks. The Ganges is regarded not just as sacred, but as a goddess in her own right. A dip in the holy river purifies the soul, but also pollutes the water. But high levels of oxygen and disease-eating microorganisms lend a scientific ring of truth to religious beliefs in the cleansing powers of the Ganges. The river's unique properties nurture and sustain a spectacular array of wildlife. From death and decay come new beginnings on the Ganges, India's great river of life